State your name.
My name is Ms Garcia. I've been affected by ACS from the year 2008 of March. They came into my life. They offered services. They came in requesting to help me because my mom was in my home and I was dealing with a lot. I was going through having the children very young in age. We had violations in my apartment. My mom's health was getting poor. I was already handling every situation, but a nurse that was visiting my mom called her supervisor, and the supervisor called ACS on me. But when they came in, they saw the children and they were in good care. There was nothing wrong with them. So they told me ACS would come the following day and that they would come to visit me. So they came the following day. I spoke to them. They offered me services. They saw the conditions of the home, but I was already taking care of everything, like I said. So they came in offering services and things for the children and furniture, so I was assuming that it would help the situation that I was in. I've never had a prior ACS case. I've never been affected. I have a 25-year-old. Never did I have any involvement with ACS. I didn't know what it was. And so I allowed them in thinking it was going to be positive help. So once everything happened in the apartment, that the landlord started doing the repairs, they said there was lead in the apartment, so that we had to evacuate the apartment and go somewhere else to stay while they fix. So the ACS worker put me in a place where I was not very comfortable with. There was a fight that broke out. We had got there maybe in the afternoon, around 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and then we still was there 11:30 at night with no place to sleep. A fight broke out, so I decided to leave this place. When I left this place, I went to my friend's house to stay there with the children. My mother went back to the apartment, and the following day the ACS worker calls me and tells me that I have to go see them because they're going to remove the children. And I said, well, I can't do that because I can't make it with the children because they were young and two walked barely and then the other two didn't. So I asked her to come and help me, and she said no, that she can't. So then she put so much pressure on me. I said, oh my goodness, you're putting so much pressure on me that I feel like killing myself. They have turned the whole thing around, made it seem like I was mentally unstable, they surrounded me with cops, the ambulance, they took the children and put them in foster care. They took me, threw me in mental hospital, in Harlem Hospital, and I was there for 72 hours. When I came out of that place, I explained to them, before we made a meeting, I explained to them I didn't have any mental issues and I wasn't going to harm myself, that I needed to know where my kids were because they took my children and I had not seen them, and that my mom was home and she was falling, she was healing, she was ill. So they let me go, and the paperwork said that I didn't need no services. There was no mental issues, and that I was calm. So that's how they released me. Now, when I went to see the children, they were in bad conditions. They were dirty, hungry, sick, and they did not look well at all. So I told the caseworker, you took the children from me, and look at the conditions they're in now. So they had to do an emergency removal. They separated 3 older children, which were Louis. At that time, he was 2 years old. Angel was about to be 1. No, he was about to be 2 also. And Alani was going to turn 1, and Demetrius was 1 month. So the 4 children looked horrible, hungry, everything. So they did the emergency removal. They separated the baby, which was 1 month, Demetrius, from the other 3 children. And then it was a problem with that because I barely saw the Demetrius. They put Louis, Angel, and Lonnie in the same foster home. They were there for 5 months after that. They gave them back to me. But then when they came back, they wanted me to put them in the daycare. The daycares around my area were full. The assistance was poor about getting the daycare, and they never found nothing, so I found something on my own, which was too far because I had to go to 180th, and I had to travel with the 4 children. And being that they impacted me the way they did, I was terrified to accept any more help from them because the impacts that they have done to this family has been huge. Every single time they come into our lives, they do a tremendous impact, and it leaves us really insecure about trust. So then they were like, well, I had CFR representing me at that time. They were like, well, if you can't find a daycare, they're going to end up taking the children, so it's best that you put them in respite. So I put them in respite, and in respite, they got sick. My daughter was hospitalized in St. Vincent Hospital. and she was there for 3 nights, which I stood with her there. And Louis and Angel was still in respite. Demetrius was being taken care of by the foster mother's mother. Her name is Rosa Sanchez, and the foster mother's name is Olga Tell. And I met these 2 sources through the brother of the foster mother. His name is Ruby Sanchez, which was friends with my children's father, Luis Hernandez. And they were friends, but prior to them introducing them to me, I never seen these people. So I became close to the mother, which was Rosa Sanchez first, and we built a little relationship, and it was going well. But then she brought her daughter over a few months later, and the daughter came into my life in 2008. The daughter and I never knew each other, never seen each other. Neither did I ever see her son or Rosa Sanchez before. They live in my area, 3 blocks from me, and these people are nothing to me. So I allowed them to come in to help, and it was going well in the beginning, and we were connecting and everything. But as time went by and the foster mother saw that there was going to be benefits involved and everything, and I even trusted her to give her the children's documents, the original copies. So I trusted her because I felt comfortable. And once she saw that and she heard that she could file with them and that she could put them as dependents, well, everything started just shifting. It just started shifting from bad to worse. And there was one incident where her son, his name is Christian Ittel, he came in with my daughter and she had like a diaper rash, and I was concerned because I'm like, first of all, you're a boy and you're a young man and you're with my daughter, and now she's coming with a rash. And I was concerned because I never let my children's diapers soak to the point where they're getting rashes or irritations. So I asked that, why is that happening? Like, why is he coming with the girl and why is nobody else with the girl? So Olga Tell got offended. She made an investigation and she took the child to the doctor and all kind of stuff, and then she didn't want to do the visits at the home. She wanted the visits transferred, and it was a big thing just because I was concerned about my child. So the foster agency started seeing differences in our relationship, and I started feeling as a mother a funny feeling towards the foster mother. As my mom's instincts started rising, I started telling the foster agency about how I don't feel comfortable with her holding my children, because now I don't even know what's going on with the children, because Olga Tell has 2 brothers. One is schizophrenic and one has addictions of heroin and alcohol, and they've been in and out of rehabs and even institutionalized in Harlem Hospital for months. So foster agency totally dismissed my request.
What's the name of the agency?
Catholic Guardian, located on 135th between 5th and Lenox. And they totally ignored me when I requested for them to remove the children from her, and I was still having my rights. Which, as the mom, if I requested her to come in to help and I felt that something wasn't right, they should have listened to me, because I still have my rights and I'm the biological mother. So they ignored me and left the children with her. And during the visits, at times the children would come with bruises, rashes. My child Demetrius was burned under her care. I just started noticing their behaviors, how they would fear to go at times, and they would cry. They didn't want to separate from the siblings, and my alert was very high. So 2 years passed, and I was seeing all these behavior issues. I filed an investigation with OSI, requesting for them to evaluate the situation and to really look at the situation. So when the OSI got involved, they came to a visit to observe it. So right there, when I opened the diaper of the child, he was bleeding from his testicle because they had not changed his diaper. And the child has sensitive skin, and everybody was aware of the situations with the children and as far as their stuff. And I used to tell them that why she's not bringing extra clothing, extra diapers, things like that. As a mother, I always traveled with extra clothing, extra things for the children, always made sure they had their stuff. So they made her do that. But still, the child was being in a daycare where he was having fights at the age of 2. He was not being properly cared for. He was coming to the visits throwing up. It was a lot of concerns. Diarrhea. He was having allergic reactions because he was having a lot of mosquito bites. He was coming in with open cuts and open wounds. And I used to document every single thing that I saw. And I made it sure to tell the caseworkers. And at times the caseworkers didn't even know themselves that there was injuries. Unless I, the mother, was looking at the child and observing their behaviors and everything else that has to do with the child. So to me, it's like a very concern that they're claiming me negligent and all these things is happening and they're seeing it and they're not taking any actions. Even when I filed the investigations, even when the child was burned at the age of 2, he was burned with a pot. And so if they're claiming me negligent, why are they allowing so much to happen to them in care? And then they're ruining my reputation, which won't allow me to work with children, won't allow me to even have anything to do. I did a training for that to help children as a volunteer in the school. I didn't get the certificate because of this case. So this has ruined my reputation as a parent, as a person. And still now, I'm fighting for the children, and now they separated the case, which was one case. The children was all born together practically, one after the other. They've been together since birth. They abruptly stopped the visits. A homemaker slapped my son right in the force agency, Catholic Guardian. They didn't do anything to her. Keith Cole was involved. He saw that. He saw the marks on my child's face, Luis Hernandez. The supervisor at that time, Michael Johnson, saw the injury too, and so did Crystal Bermudez, which was the caseworker. The homemaker, her name was Keba Mafanta. She left. Nobody held her responsible. After that, the child started acting out. The child was acting out in school, very emotional. At times, I was doing a training for nursing assistant. I had to stop. I was there for 3 months. I was about to go into internship. I had to stop because the child started acting out. And they couldn't control him at times. So to avoid him being taken by the ambulance, I would go to the school and stay there till 11 in the morning, almost all the time. And at times they would call me, telling me to come over. I would be in an appointment. I would leave the appointment and go to the school. So the mental impact has been enormous. The children have suffered so much. The boys, Louis and Angel, always ask about their siblings. This is a close family. The foster mother was given too much authority. She was even testifying. She testified and lied under oath, said that we were childhood friends. We never were childhood friends. She lied and said that my daughter and my son are not attached to me. And it's very obvious because they saw in the visits how the siblings were having such a hard time separating. It would take us an hour to prepare them. They didn't want to put on their shoes. They would start crying, having fallouts. And people saw. I had B2H involved. I had other sources involved that saw the horrible separation, the attachment. I had Michelle Buongiorno from Highbridge involved. We also had to transfer visits because the foster mother kept missing visits and coming up with all kind of excuses not to show up. Even the social worker, Clara Getz, was involved, and she did 2 visits in 2010 December and saw that the foster mother didn't show up for 2 visits, back-to-back visits missed.